G'day and welcome back to my channel. I'm Ruben and behind me here is my past 250T. On the last episode I uploaded, I went up to Christchurch and retrieved a $500 GT that hasn't been running since 2006. Well, it's a slight lie, but it's more or less been off the road since 2006. And suitably, the tank in that thing is quite rusty. In that last episode I grabbed the fuel pump out of this little thing here. But now today we are grabbing the fuel tank. It actually looks in really good nick. So I'm washing the weather here, as you can see behind me, a bit of a greyness rolling in. I'm fine with getting a little wet. I'd rather my camera didn't though, so I'm just going to jump straight into it. Some thought the buggers greased them. Alright, well I think we're ready for the drop. Looks as though the subframe has to come out. I'm a little bit disappointed by that. Just a little bit. That's very promising. Yep, that worked. Well, Future Ruben here, and I've just got done editing the video. Lucky you, because that took me 3 days. Quite the ordeal. Putting the fuel tank in itself actually took close to 3 hours. You may have seen 1 second in that clip that I had to rope my friend Camillo in to come give me a hand. The problem was just getting it seated in up there. The straps were about 2 inches short of actually reaching the chassis, so we had to do a little cheat using some longer bolts to get them started, wound in and actually set the tank properly, and then we were able to change the bolts out for the correct ones. Anyway, going forward, I'd like to announce that I'm going to try and do weekly videos. The idea is we're going to be doing a bunch of projects like this GT. Each week is going to be a video repairing another little thing on this thing until the car's nice and ready to sell. If I run out of things to do, I'm always busy on the weekends. I've always got friends' cars to fix. This weekend, for example, I'm doing a set of rocker covers, some rear brake pads, some steering rack mount bushes, so that sort of thing. So there's always going to be something to do. But on the note of this Project GT, I'd also like to announce that I will be selling it at the end of this, and not in New Zealand. I'm going to be exporting this car to the US. Yay! So if anyone in the States would like to buy this car, you can shoot me a message. I've got a friend who I've been talking to for quite some time about exporting a car to the States, and he's been wanting to import a car from New Zealand. We thought this would be a great car, low stakes car to basically go through the process and learn how to export a car / import a car to the US. It's going to be fun. There may be some issues with paperwork. This car is currently deregistered in New Zealand, so the US equivalent of that, I guess, is no title car. So here, in order to get a new title, you need a document signed by the Justice of the Peace saying that you've bought the car legally and it is yours. And that is all. That's all that suffices. I don't know if that document is sufficient for export, though. So we may have to go through the process of re-registering the car, getting new plates for it, just to deregister it for export. But at least that way, legally, for certain, it is in my name, which is probably quite important. Anyway, the laundry list of things we need to do to this car. Let's grab the whiteboard out. So first and foremost, my mission was to collect the car. So we can cross that one out nicely. Awesome. Next one was the fuel tank. This is one of the larger issues. These two we can cross off. The next item on the list is the driver's seat. So this is a fairly common problem that happens on these electric seat cars for the 2nd gen Legacy. And I guess 1st gen has the same problem, same motor. The little bolts in the electric seat motors tend to wind out and they can strip the thread out as they come. Worst case scenario, I have to disassemble the entire seat to get these motors out, drill and helicore them. Best case scenario is I just put a bolt in with a bit of red Loctite, because you can at best get about 2 Newton meters of torque on them, and hopefully that fixes that. So that's going to be the next video, will be the driver's seat. After that we've got the entertainment unit. It's like a TV and GPS, which was a pretty hot option in 1997, I'll tell you what. The only reason I managed to buy this car for $500 is because that unit had already sold to a guy in the States for $500, more or less. It turns out he's a good friend of mine from online. So I was able to convince the owner to sell the car to me with all of that stuff intact, and I would take care of removing that and sending it to our friend Calder. So that's going to be a video. Quite an extensive system, actually. There is a fair bit of wiring involved, and there's the CD changer in the back. There's an amplifier in under one of the seats as well. all of that's coming out, and all of that is going to the States. So we'll remove GPS. And keeping a theme with electronic issues, there was the immobilizer. You may have seen us mention that in the first video, that there was an immobilizer. I managed to bypass that and get the car running by pulling the fuse out, not by putting a fuse in. So goodness knows who installs an immobilizer that can be hacked by simply cutting its power, but it's in there and it needs to come out. So immobilizer. Then we have the cosmetic side of things. It definitely needs a good polish. That's an episode in itself. But we've also got the paint. The paint on both bumpers is ruined. There's no saving it at all. So they have to be redone. The paint on the bonnet is also pretty stuffed. There's some deep scratches through the paint coat and into the undercoat. And there's also a small dent in the bonnet which I'd like to remove. And then there's the front right fender / wing. That's sort of caved in. I don't know if it's fixable or not. We'll find out. Either way, it's going to need painting. So, panel plus paint. And lastly, there's quite a significant oil leak from the engine. I don't know quite what it is. It may be rocker covers, or it may be the rear air oil separator plate on the back of the engine. These motors have got the plastic ones which crack. So we're going to need to address that. Now I'm thinking, if I have to do the air oil separator plate and rocker cover, I may as well do them both, since they both do this. It's a really good opportunity to pull the engine out, show you guys how to pull a twin turbo motor out, and give that engine bay a good clean, because you've seen it. It's pretty dire in there. There's a lot of things I'd like to address in there and get that thing tidied up, make it look spick and span. Yeah, I'd like to take you guys along for the process in that one. So, remove engine, yay. And with that, I think that's most of it. If anything else pops up on here, we'll add it, of course, and that's another episode. Really excited to take you guys along with me, and if you like what you're seeing, like and subscribe, and see you next week. Cheers.